The sun had barely begun to peek over the horizon, painting the sky with streaks of gold and orange. The gentle waves lapped against the shore as Leonard, a local fisherman, pushed his small wooden boat into the calm waters of the lake. Fishing had always been his lifeline, both a way to provide for his family and a place where he could pray quietly, alone with God. That morning, however, Leonard sensed an unease he couldn't explain. He cast his net with the practiced hands of a man who had spent decades on the water. The lake seemed unusually restless, the wind whispering across the surface with an almost urgent warning. Leonard shrugged it off, telling himself it was just one of those mornings where nature played tricks on the mind. But as he steered further from shore, dark clouds began rolling in, turning the sky a threatening shade of gray. Within minutes, the wind picked up, whipping the water into fierce, frothy waves. Leonard fought to keep the boat steady, his heart pounding with both fear and determination. "Lord, please guide me," he whispered under his breath, gripping the edges of the boat. The waves grew taller, each one crashing harder than the last, threatening to overturn his tiny vessel. The net he had cast earlier tangled and pulled at the boat, throwing him off balance. He could feel the water creeping closer to the rim. Panic started to rise, and Leonard remembered the psalm he often recited in times of fear. "When I am afraid, I will trust in you." Psalm 56, verse 3. The words clung to him like a lifeline, but the storm showed no mercy. A massive wave hit, flipping the boat completely, and Leonard plunged into the icy waters. For a moment, everything went black. The chaos of the storm roared in his ears as he struggled to stay afloat, gasping for air and trying to keep his head above water. Cold and exhaustion began to take hold. Leonard's thoughts raced, not about his family, not about his future, but about God. "Lord, I can't do this alone," he cried out, his voice barely audible over the wind. In that desperate moment, he felt an inexplicable peace wash over him. It was as if an unseen hand was holding him, keeping him from sinking further, guiding him toward the surface, wave by wave. Through the blur of rain and spray, Leonard spotted something, a faint outline of a floating log. With every ounce of strength, he swam toward it, clinging tightly as the storm continued to rage around him. Minutes felt like hours, yet he refused to let go, his faith anchoring him more firmly than anything else. Then, just when he felt his strength failing, the wind began to calm, and the waves softened. Leonard was lifted gently, almost miraculously, toward the shallower waters near the shore. When he finally crawled onto land, soaked and trembling, he sank to his knees, overwhelmed with gratitude. His boat had capsized. His nets were ruined. Yet somehow he was alive. Leonard looked up at the sky, now clearing, and whispered, "Thank you, Lord, for not letting me go under. You truly are my refuge." In the days that followed, Leonard shared his story with his neighbors and fellow fishermen. Many asked how he had survived such a fierce storm alone. He simply smiled and said, "I wasn't alone at all. God's hand held me when I couldn't hold on myself." The experience deepened his faith in ways he had never imagined. Each morning he returned to the lake, he felt God's presence more profoundly, aware that life's storms are inevitable, but so is God's protection. Leonard's story reminds us that even in moments when life feels overwhelming, we are never truly alone. Trials may toss us, fears may surround us, but God's hand can keep us afloat. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," Psalm 23 verse 1, was no longer just a verse to Leonard. It became a living truth he carried in his heart every day. Today, Leonard's testimony inspires others in his village to trust God through their own storms. He learned that faith is not only about calm waters, but about trusting the one who controls the wind and waves, even when life flips our world upside down. And for Leonard, that truth has been his anchor, his guide, and his ultimate source of hope. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to subscribe. Join us as we share more real stories of faith, hope, and the power of God's hand at work in everyday lives. Your subscription helps spread these messages to others who need encouragement. Thank you for watching this episode.